All right, so this week I made a lot of progress on book 2. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. And I wrote a couple scenes, but now I'm trying to write down. I set up the scene of not really the plot twist, but when everything comes to light about some of the people in the town. So I have it set for that right now, where that's like the next scene is when he's telling her, don't worry about it, I got this. And because I get so into my head with things, I was talking to one of my other writing friends, another author, and I was like, yeah, so I set it up. I think it's almost ready, but I'm not sure. Because again, I'm going in my mind and I'm like, I need to know about everything else that's already been written. Now, most of the time, most authors won't think about this until after pretty much the whole book is finished. Then they'll be like, okay, now let's kind of look at the character arcs. Let's see if it makes sense. Let's see if it does this. But now I'm kind of doing that before I even get to that point. So my author friend was like, hey, how many words do you have? And I was like, right now I got like 16,000. I have plenty of room to expand this baby. My goal is to not make it over 34,000 words because book 1 is about 35,000. So I'm trying to keep them all within like somewhat close to each other in terms of word count. I don't want to give too, my biggest fear is like giving too less to the point that readers are like, why was this really written when there's not that many words? Like the story's there, but it's not really there. So that's like my biggest fear. So I've been working on that. But I've been working on book 2. And again, I feel like it's good, but then I got it in my head and I'm like, but what if it's not? What if it's like there's so many holes in it, like developmentally? So I use what we call pro writing aid, and it can manuscript critique. I've used it before and it's pretty spot on. So I kept getting this thing on the document saying, hey, you have a free credit. I was like, sweet, I'll run it through this manuscript critique and it'll tell me where my issues are. Okay, because I don't really want alphas to get a hold of it yet, just because there's some major like spots that aren't filled. So I'd rather not do that yet. So I go into the pro writing aid and the thing, and I'm like, there's no credit here. So I was like, okay, well, because there's no free credit, I'm just gonna let it go. So I was telling my author friend, she's like, oh, well, if you only have that many words, I'll read it for you. So I was like, perfect. So she read it. She gave me feedback on things. Just because I felt in some ways that it was a little too fast so far, which means I need to kind of go back and slow it down. Currently, it's kind of like an Instaburn. I'd say it's more like an Instaburn. Well, I don't even know what it is now. Oh my gosh. But let's just say they get together pretty quick. And that wasn't my intention. So now I'm like thinking, is it really too fast of them getting together? Maybe it is. Maybe I should slow it down. So I have her, looking it over and telling me like, yeah, it's a little too fast, or no, it's fine. But then like, I'm also at the point too where he's about to expose everybody, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like where the book slowly starts to come to a close. But then I'm like, what do I want to happen after this? Because you don't want to end it too soon and then readers be like, wait a minute, this just happened and now the book's over? What? Yeah, I don't want that. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to take place after everything is exposed. So I'm trying to figure that out as well. So But I have to look over her, like, comments and stuff. I haven't had a chance to do that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like I have these key moments, but then it's like, what do I want to happen after these key moments? You know, mostly the one where he exposes everybody. So, and then I have to figure out, how is she going to learn who he used to be? How is she going to react to that? What's going to be going on at the time? So there's like all these different things that like I still have to put in there, and I'm still trying to figure out where I'm, like, how I'm going to do it and where I'm going to do it. So it's been like, yeah. But I will say that I'm feeling pretty confident the more I work on this book. The more I'm feeling that it's going to be published earlier than I thought. So I do feel pretty good about that. So I guess that's a win for the week when it comes to my characters. But yeah, so far right now he's about to throw the hammer down and expose everybody. And I have it written in a way that's pretty believable. It's not like someone's going to be like, oh, this would never happen. No, it could happen. So again, I thought of it very strategically on how he would do it. And I left the violence out of it. It's more like a bittersweet, like justice kind of moment. So yeah, I think I wrote it pretty well on how I want it all to play out. Like in terms of what I want to happen, like how I want him to expose everybody. Yeah, I think I did pretty good on that. But again, that scene is not completely written because how I left it also felt kind of rushed. So, but then I'm also the kind of person that's like, let me go ahead and write it, you know, and then let me kind of slow it down. But now it seems that I'm stopping myself every time I need to slow it down. I just can't win, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited. I made a lot of headway this week. A lot. So I'm hoping, cross fingers, that by the end of June, this is ready for beta readers. Actually, no, alpha readers, and then the beta readers. So I'm crossing fingers for like a September, October, maybe November publish date. I don't want to put it out till December. I definitely don't want to do that. I want to have it out before October for publishing. And so far, I feel like that's going to be achievable. Yeah. But I just have to figure out more scenes. You know? So that's kind of where I'm at, is slowing the pace. But yeah, I'll let you guys know next week how that goes. Have a good weekend.